Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to another day of learning. Your teachers today are Sylvia and Elisa. Get ready for another fun episode full of learning.
Hello, boys and girls. Remember, my name is Elisa.
And my name is Sylvia. We will be joined by our good friend Rattenborough again today. Hi, everyone. I can't wait to learn with you today.
I am excited too. By the end of the lesson today, we will understand living and non-living things and how to classify them.
Can anyone tell us how we know if something is living or non-living? Those are great responses. I know that living things require food to live. I'm glad too. I can't imagine not eating cheese.
You're right, Rattenborough. Living things also reproduce, have a life cycle, and can change to fit in better with their habitats. As humans, Sylvia and I, along with all of those watching at home, need food, clothing, and shelter.
Let's practice classifying some things into categories for living and non-living.
Before we sort our words onto our chart, let's do a quick quiz to see if we are ready. Sylvia, can you call out a word and I'll decide if it's living or non-living? If it's living, I'll wiggle. If it's non-living, I'll stand as still as a statue.
That sounds fun. Rattenborough, can you be our checker to let us know if we are correct? That sounds fun. I'm ready. Let's go. All right, Elisa. Our first word is slime. Ready? Go!
Slime is non-living.
I once forgot to put my slime away before I went to bed. I fell asleep playing with it, and when I woke up, I was covered in green goo. Oh, Rattenborough, I bet you had a hard time getting slime out of your fur. I sure did. I had to scrub and scrub. Afterward, I was the cleanest I had ever been in my life. Okay, Elisa, your next word is skunk.
A skunk is a living thing.
That's correct. Great job. Skunks are not my favorite animal because they are super stinky. If you get sprayed by a skunk, you will stink for a very long time. So let's try one more word. Cheese. Oh, that's my favorite thing in the whole world. I could eat cheese for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Cheese is really tasty, but it's important that you have a balanced diet to ensure your body stays healthy and strong. That's true, but I sure wish I could just eat cheese. Broccoli just isn't as mouth-watering to me as cheese. Okay, Elisa, show us what you think about cheese.
Cheese is a non-living thing.
What do you think? Rattenborough, is she correct? She's absolutely correct. Cheese is a non-living thing. Now, let's sort our word cards, starting with rock. I think a rock is a non-living thing because it doesn't eat like me. I don't see how anything can be living if it doesn't eat cheese.
I agree. A rock is non-living. What about a lion? Boys and girls, tell someone at home if you think a lion is living or non-living. Great job! A lion is living.
about an oak tree? Is it living or non-living? That's a tough one. I might need some help with this one. What do you think, boys and girls?
Well, let's think about it. An oak tree takes in nutrients from the soil, so it needs food to survive. Does that make it living or non-living?
Great job. An oak tree is living. What about our next word, television? I think a television is non-living. Do you agree? I agree. I never see my television eat or breathe.
How about water? Awesome job! Water is non-living.
You all did amazing with deciding if those were living or non-living. Let's review our vocabulary for today's lesson so you will be ready for Rattenborough's story.
Okay, our first word is classify. When we classify, we put things in groups based on similarities. We will learn how scientists classify animals.
Our next word is scientist. A scientist is an expert at science. He has knowledge of the natural world based on facts learned through observations and experiments. I met a scientist once. He taught me a lot about animals.
Our next word is characteristic. A characteristic is something that makes a person, thing, or group different. Boys and girls, can you think of a sentence with the word characteristic? Wow, great sentences.
We will also learn about a life cycle today. A life cycle is the stages through which a living thing grows from birth until death. My friend Betty the butterfly goes through a really cool life cycle. Let's check it out.
She certainly does. A butterfly starts its life as an egg. Then a caterpillar hatches from the egg. Isn't that amazing? After the caterpillar eats and eats and eats, it forms a chrysalis during the pupa stage. After a little while, the caterpillar goes through the process of metamorphosis and changes into an adult butterfly. When something goes through metamorphosis, it changes the way it looks from birth.
Yeah, my friend Tabitha Toad goes through metamorphosis too. She changes from a tadpole into an adult toad.
You're right, Rattenborough. Toads and butterflies both go through metamorphosis.
My life cycle isn't as exciting as Betty's or Tabitha's. I start out as a baby rat and grow into a bigger rat. Every creature is special, Rattenborough. Our life cycle is very similar to yours. We start out as babies and grow into adults.
Adult is our next vocabulary word. An adult is grown up. Sylvia and I are both adults.
Adapt is our next word. Adapt means to change. Animals often adapt to their environments.
Our last word is kingdom. A kingdom is a major group into which all living things are classified. In our last lesson, we learned that humans are part of the animal kingdom.
Boys and girls, let's read our words one last time. I will read the word and you echo it back to me. Classify, scientist, characteristics, life cycle, adult, adapt, kingdom. Classify is when we put things into groups based on things that they have in common or alike. A scientist, that is someone who knows a lot about the world because he or she learned facts based on observations and experiments. Remember, a characteristic is something that makes a person, thing, or group different. Life cycle is the set of stages that a person or any living thing goes through from the time they are born until they die. An adult is a living thing that is all grown up. Adapt means to change, and kingdom is a major group into which all living things are classified.
Boys and girls, are you ready to hear Rattenborough's story? Great, we are too.
Today I am going to help you learn how scientists sort or classify living things into groups. First, I need you to think about two questions. How do you know if something is living or non-living? What important characteristics do all living things have? All living things create energy from food. All living things can have babies or make other living things just like themselves. All living things have a life cycle, and all living things can change to fit in better with their habitat. Plants make up one group of living things. We know this because plants have the same characteristics that all living things have. Plants make their own food using the sun, water, and gases in the air. Plants make seeds that become new plants. Plants grow from small seeds into seedlings and become adult plants. And plants can adapt to their habitat. For example, all plants need water, but a cactus in a dry desert does not need as much water as other plants. Animals of all shapes and sizes are living things too. So, animals also have the same characteristics that all living things have. Animals get energy from the food they eat. Animals can have babies, and baby animals are small but grow into adult animals. Animals can adapt to their habitat. For example, the fur of polar bears looks white so they can blend in with the snow where they live. Plants and animals are both living things, but they are different in important ways. For example, animals move from place to place, but plants do not. Scientists study how living things are alike and different and sort or classify them into large groups called kingdoms. There are 5 kingdoms of living things. You have just learned about 2, the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom. Scientists study animals within the animal kingdom and classify them by the characteristics they share with other animals. One way scientists classify animals into more specific groups is by checking if an animal has a backbone. In Insects do not have backbones, but birds and fish do. So, animals with a backbone are in different, more specific groups within the animal kingdom. We classify the things around us so we can get to know our world better. As we learn about living things, we also learn about ourselves and our place in the world. So far, scientists have classified over 1 million different kinds of animals. Most of these are insects. Many insects, and scientists think there may be close to 10 million other animals that still have not been classified. Wow, I really enjoyed your story today, Rattenborough. Boys and girls, let's test our knowledge of living and non-living things now that we know a little bit more about them.
Great. First, let's add a few more things to our chart. I have a worm, a rose bush, a turtle, a grasshopper, and stuffed animal. Take a moment to think. Where would these be placed on our chart?
I think a stuffed animal is non-living, but all the others are living. I agree. One time I tried to feed my stuffed rabbit some cheese, but it wouldn't open its mouth.
You're both right. Great job. Now, I have a special challenge for you. We are going to go back through the words on our chart. If it is a member of the plant kingdom, I want you to pretend you're a tree.
If it is a member of the animal kingdom, use your arms to pretend to chomp like you have jaws. Oh, I like that idea.
Is a lion a member of the plant kingdom or the animal kingdom? Show us your motion. Yes, a lion is a member of the animal kingdom.
What about an oak tree? Is an oak tree a member of the plant kingdom or the animal kingdom? Show us your motion. Excellent. An oak tree is a member of the plant kingdom. Let's try worm. Is a worm a member of the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom? Show us your motion. Great! A worm is a member of the animal kingdom.
What do you all think about a rose bush? Show us your motion. Awesome! A rose bush is a member of the plant kingdom.
How about a turtle? Is a turtle a member of the plant kingdom or the animal kingdom? Show us your motion. Yes, a turtle is a member of the animal kingdom. Okay, it's our last one. Do you think a grasshopper is a member of the plant kingdom or the animal kingdom? Show us your motion. Wow, you all did a great job. A grasshopper is a member of the animal kingdom.
You did such a terrific job. I can tell you have been great listeners.
Now, we have a few questions for you to help you think about all that you've learned today. Before we begin with our questions, let's review what we have learned.
First, let's review our vocabulary words and their definitions. Remember, boys and girls, The word classify means to sort things based on their similar characteristics. Our next word is scientist. A scientist is an expert in science. A scientist knows a lot about the natural world. This word is characteristic. A characteristic is something that makes you different or unique.
Life cycle is the stages that a living thing goes through. All living things start out as a baby and then grow to become an adult. And that brings us to our next word, adult. An adult is an animal or person that is all grown up. Our next word is adapt, which means to change. And our last word is kingdom, and it refers to a group in which living things are classified. We learned about 2 types of kingdoms today. The animal kingdom includes all animals, and the plant kingdom includes all plants. We also discussed living and non-living things. Living things such as plants and animals need food and water for energy. Living things go through a life cycle and change as they grow, but non-living things such as a rock or a television do not grow and change. They do not need food and water.
Now that we have reviewed everything from today's lesson, let's see if you can answer some questions using what you have learned from today's lesson.
I bet you will do a great job. Let's get started. I have a good one. What 4 characteristics do all living things have in common?
Great! Living things need food for energy. They can have babies or make other living things like themselves. They have a life cycle starting out as small and growing, and they can change to fit in better with their habitat.
Can you tell us what you remember about kingdoms? That's right. Kingdoms are groups into which scientists sort all living things. We talked about the plant and animal kingdoms today. You remember a lot from today's lesson. Can you tell us why scientists classify animals? If you said scientists classify animals to better understand them, then you are correct.
We have one more question for you. Which group of living things is the largest? Wow, great job! Insects is the largest group.
I hope you learned a lot about living and non-living things, as well as the plant and animal kingdoms today. Which kingdom are you a part of? The plant kingdom or the animal kingdom? You are all part of the animal kingdom. See you next time, boys and girls.
Thank you, Elisa and Sylvia. All rights and credits for today's lesson belong to Core Knowledge Language Arts. We would like to thank them for publicly sharing these valuable resources. The views and opinions expressed in this lesson are those of the Core Knowledge authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Mississippi Department of Education. Thank you for joining us today, boys and girls. We hope to see you next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.